All right, and here we are with our postseason recap and stats recap and everything else. Um, I'm not gonna remember how to get back to the playoff tree. There it is. All right, so we were swept in the first round by the Phillies. And the Giants beat the Mets, and then the Giants went on to beat the Dodgers in the division series, while the Braves swept the Phillies in the division series. Giants took care of the Braves in the League Championship Series to make it to the World Series, where they took on the Orioles. In the American League, Detroit swept the Rangers, and the Orioles beat the Blue Jays in the Wild Card Series. In the division series, the Astros took care of the Tigers 3-2, and the Orioles swept the Guardians 3-0. And then League Championship Series, the Orioles took care of the Astros. And the World Series, the Orioles took care of the Giants in 5 games, where Colton Cowser was named MVP of the series. He hit 360 during the series, 9 hits, 8 RBIs, 1 home run. Pitching wise, let's look. Corbin Burns went 13 in the third. Actually, didn't pitch great necessarily, but didn't pitch bad either, probably. But the Baltimore Orioles are your 2024 World Series champions. So let's go look at what is it called? Award winners for the year. So in the American League, your MVP is Luis Robert Jr. He had a 338, 389, 622 slash with 44 home runs and 95 WAR. Your Cy Young winner was Shane Bieber, his second, went 15-11 with 3.21 ERA. Colt Keith of Detroit, second baseman, was your Rookie of the Year. And Emmanuel Claus, his second Reliever of the Year award. And then the Gold Glove winners in the American League were Grayson Rodriguez, pitching for Baltimore. Jose Trevino, catcher for the Yankees. Nolan Chanel, first baseman for the Angels. Willie Castro, second baseman for Minnesota. Jose Ramirez, third baseman for Cleveland. Bobby Witt Jr., shortstop from Kansas City. Stephen Kwan, left fielder for Cleveland, won his third. Jose Siri, center fielder for Tampa Bay. And Ardolis Garcia won his second consecutive um, Gold Glove in right field. Your American League Silver Sluggers were Logan O'Hoppe, catcher for the Angels. Kyle Manzardo, first baseman for Cleveland. Colt Keith, your Rookie of the Year, won the second base Silver Slugger. Royce Lewis won the third base Silver Slugger. Corey Seager won his fourth Silver Slugger award. Juan Soto won his fifth. This one he won for the Yankees. Luis Robert Jr. won his second for the White Sox. Kyle Tucker for Houston won it for right fielders, and Spencer Torkelson won the DH Silver Slugger. National League Award winners were Bryce Harper won his third MVP for the Phillies. Blake Snell went 19-7 for his third Cy Young Award. Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the Dodgers won the MVP, went 16-5. And Camilo Doval for San Francisco won the Reliever of the Year with 50 saves on the season. Your Gold Gloves for the National League. Look at that, Greg Maddux won 13 in a row and 18 out of 19. That's crazy. Zach Wheeler was your pitcher Gold Glove, his second consecutive. Patrick Bailey won for catcher from San Francisco. Christian Walker of Arizona won his third consecutive Gold Glove. Nico Horner of the Cubs won his second consecutive Gold Glove at second base. Ke'Bryan Hayes of Pittsburgh won the Gold Glove at third base. Willy Adames won his first Gold Glove award at shortstop. Brandon Nimmo won the Gold Glove at left field. Michael Harris II of Atlanta won the center field Gold Glove, and Michael Taylor of Pittsburgh won the right field Gold Glove. Your Silver Slugger awards: Will Smith gets it for catchers from the Dodgers. Bryce Harper of the Phillies won it for the fourth time, or won a Silver Slugger award for the fourth time. Xander Bogaerts won the second baseman Silver Slugger. Nolan Arenado of the Cardinals won the third baseman for the sixth time. Mookie Betts won his seventh Silver Slugger award, this time for shortstops. Brian Reynolds won the Silver Slugger award for left fielders. Michael Harris II was your center field Silver Slugger. Ronald Acuna Jr. won his fourth Silver Slugger award for right fielders, and Shohei Ohtani won his third Silver Slugger award, and he won it for the DH spot. Let's go talk about salary arbitration real quick. And so I have 7 players that are eligible for arbitration. Most of them I've already kind of went through and messed with these numbers a little bit. I'm still trying to decide. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. I have decided I'm going to non-tender John King. He was 6-12 in AAA this year, 28 saves. In the International League, I just don't see him coming up to the majors, to be honest. And I have 2 free agents in the major leagues that I still have to, or that I'm not offering contracts to. Brandon Crawford, 37. He didn't have a terrible year, but he also wasn't great. And I'm going to try to sign a second baseman and move Tommy Edman into that utility role. Tommy Edman also had a bad year, but I think Edman's going to bounce back. He's only 29, whereas Brandon Crawford's 37, probably doesn't have much left in the tank. And then Paul Goldschmidt, I would love to bring him back. He wants to come back, but he also wants $23 million over 3 years. And I'm not bringing back a 37-year-old at those prices. I mean, I'm just not doing it. As much as I hate to do that. And then I have 7 that are pity free agents that I need to make a decision on. Down here, I'm going to look at their stats before making a decision on them. I have not done that yet. So let's look at stats real quick. Or not real quick. Let's look at stats. And so welcome to one of my spreadsheets. This is my player rankings spreadsheet where I can kind of go and look at all of my players in my organization real quick. And it's color coded, so it tells me, you know, how are they doing? Is it good, bad, indifferent, whatever. I also keep basically an almanac, a running almanac of, you know, players that have been in my organization, and they will remain on this page until they retire. And so, you know, next year I'll add all the players in my organization, and then I'll separate it, or I'll sort it by name, and then so next year Dylan Carlson will have 2 things here, and I can just kind of see what they've done year over year. It helps me see, especially if I'm looking at, you know, promoting is that kid in rookie ball, has he been good or has he been bad for a couple of years running, you know, or whatever else. But offensively, so Arenado had 3.7 WAR, 275 average, 118 OPS plus, 28 home runs, 95 RBIs, 2.8 zone rating, making $35 million. So there's 4 years left on his contract. Actually, it'll be 3 years after this. This is, you know, current. Dylan Carlson, 1.8 WAR, and 331 at bats. That's not terrible. 305 batting average. Actually, I need to look at. He had a better year than I thought he did. At 14 home runs, 63 RBIs. If he was a better defender, he'd already be starting in defense on defense in center field. But he's just not a great center field defender. Wilson Contreras hit 257, 29 home runs, 82 RBIs. Why is he such higher OPS? Yeah. Runs above average is 18. Um, Brandon Crawford, 98 at bats. Hit 276, not terrible, like I said, but he's 37, and I just didn't want to bring him back. Brendan Donovan, can basically play everywhere that Brandon Crawford. No, Brandon Crawford can only play shortstop. Brendan Donovan can play everywhere. Um, Tommy Edman, I'm gonna look at upgrading at second base, and I'll show y'all here in a little bit. Some people I'm gonna kind of go after. Um, he had a bad year offensively, but I'm hoping he'll bounce back next year. Like really hoping. He was good defensively, but other than that, not good. Paul Goldschmidt, like I said, great year. Would love to bring him back. I just can't do it at $23 million for somebody that's gonna be 38 years old next year. Um, had a great year though. It's gonna. I mean, my fans are gonna revolt, but it's a financial decision. It's all this. Moises Gomez. This was split time between the major. He came up in September, but overall he had 3-1 WAR, 299 batting average. Maybe this is somebody that stays up, but he's terrible defensively. Nolan Gorman ended up being my DH. 257. I will take that out of Nolan Gorman. We hate to see this strikeout position, our numbers, but he hit 257 with 49. He led the league in home runs, by the way. 49 home runs, 113 RBIs. You hit 49 home runs, you can strike out 35% of the time. Vaughn Herrera, backup catcher, played in 59 games, hit 287, not terrible. Um, that number actually, like he's not a great, in real life, he's not a great catcher, defensive catcher. So those numbers really surprised me. Maybe we'll look at that. I don't know. Because he hit better. Um, but, so Lars Nootbaar. So these guys, whenever they're green, I'll talk about that when I get my AAA and AA players. Lars Nootbaar, 130 games, batted 217. That's not good at all. Maybe I look at Moises Gomez playing left field for us. Maybe platoon these two because one's right-handed, one's left-handed, I believe. 25 home runs, 55 RBIs. Not a great defender. Victor Scott II, terrible year at the plate. He hit 263, which isn't terrible, but he had 120 hits, 11 doubles, 2 home runs. He had a few triples, I'm sorry. So, I'm assume also. Um, but he just doesn't hit for power. Um, but he plays defense in center field. Jordan Walker, had above average year hitting 279, 116 OPS plus, 23 home runs, 80 RBIs. Terrible defender in right field though. And Mason Wynn, shortstop, rookie, hit 271. Just below league average, OPS plus, WRC plus. But 14.5 zone rating, really good defensively. So there's that. Let's look at AAA. We won't look at everything in AAA, but so here's what I will talk about: the green and the red over here. So basically, for position players, if you have no color, that means you are kind of in the middle. So if they're green, that means your OPS plus and your WRC plus are both above 119, and you have more than, I think it's 100 at bats. I don't remember exactly what that cutoff is, but I believe it's like more than 100 at bats. you know, a good sample size. And so Luke Baker, like I would look at moving him up this year. He's not great defensively, but he hit 39 home runs, 101 RBIs, struck out 25% of the time, so 1 over 4 at bats. His WOBA kind of scares me a little bit right there, 392. That's a high WOBA. You know, is he going to be able to do that year in, year out? He didn't have a WOBA and keeping those numbers high. Probably not. These numbers are going to regress a little bit next year, would be my guess. But it's something for me to keep an eye on. Mike and Tico, center fielder. If you're red, it means you have more than 100 at bats, and both of these numbers are 80 or less. 80 or less. Um, so it means that you were well below average for the league. Um, and as you can see, he only had 125 at bats, but well below average. So I would definitely not look at moving him up. And I don't generally make decisions to send people back down, but if he was up for renewing a contract, like the answer would probably be no. For instance, Jose Fermin, right here, he is one of my free agents, and so I will not look at bringing him back more than likely. Um, and he's terrible at playing defense. At least at shortstop he is. So he doesn't strike out, but yeah. Michael Ciani, and I hate to see this because real life he's actually in the majors and not playing terrible. He's not a great hitter, but he's not playing terrible. But he's a great defender, like even better than Victor Scott. But he's also way worse of a hitter, like 15% worse hitting. And so, you know, so who led? Luke Baker led in home runs. Is that right? Yep, led in home runs and RBIs. Best defender was Michael Ciani. Um, and then Double A. Um, I'm actually really looking Jimmy Crooks right here. I'm really looking at, I said in one of the earlier episodes that I'm gonna keep an eye on him and see. He's 23, so I'm gonna look at him maybe because defensively, if I can trade Contreras and get back a good second baseman, or somebody that's just better than Tommy Edman, can Jimmy Crooks come up here and I don't need him to hit like Wilson Contreras. I need him to play defense better than Wilson Contreras. And so can he do that? That'll be something I look at. Um, Alex Ladesanaria. Um, I would look at moving him up possibly. He's still, kind of young, 23. Jimmy Crooks is also kind of young. So see, I may wait another year with Jimmy Crooks because of his age. Maybe move him up to AAA and see. Because his WOBA was really high. So was the Desanarios. And Thomas Sagasi, 22. Like I'll probably move all three of these up to AAA. And then Thomas Sagasi led my Double A squad in home runs, 32. Best defensive player was the center fielder. No, the shortstop. Archimedes Gambo. Um, and then the ones but he was bad offensively, like really bad offensively. Um, Jacob Butchenberger, Ramon Mendoza were all bad, bad. Um, and then in high A, a bunch of bad, a whole bunch of bad in high A. But the good players, Zach Levinson, William Sullivan, first base, right field. Zach Levinson was actually not a plus defender, but a little bit above average. And William Sullivan was not above average defensively. But He had 45 home runs, 93 RBIs, hit 250 on the year. Yeah. And then some of these people that were bad, was really, really young, probably shouldn't have been up in high A yet. But and then in A ball, nobody would. I would look at none of these people to move up. Although Braden Joe Burr is really close. 122 OPS plus, 118 WRC plus. I would actually look at possibly moving him up if there was spot up. If there's room higher. And then rookie ball. This is the first year I've ever done the actual draft on the year that, or on the date that they actually have in real life. And so I didn't realize that the kids that I drafted would get no playing time because their season's already over. I used to move it to June 1st, kind of like what PF Holden and some others that do that. And I didn't this year because I wanted to make it more aligned with what happens in real life. And so we'll see. I'll do that this entire series, is just have it there and just kind of see what goes on. And so we'll see. So only 2 players in my rookie ball, at least in my Arizona league. I think it's Arizona league. No, it's Florida Cactus League. Sammy Hernandez, catcher, and Michael Vargas, center fielder. They're both 20. Both were more than 150 plus. And so what I would look at is, they're both 20. So that means they were drafted out of high school, I would think. Because this is not their first year at rookie ball. And so this is at least they'll be their first year playing. And so I would look at, if you only had 1 year, I'm probably not moving you up unless you're just destroying it. Like this Trey Richardson guy, if he had more at bats, if he had like over 100 at bats, was at 180, 182, I'd probably move him up. And I will look at Michael Vargas and I will make that decision, but I'm not sure. You have quite a few here that didn't make the cut. And then here's my Dominican rookie league. Only one kid, Raul Guzman. He will get bumped up to high A probably. And so the way I do it typically is the kids from the Dominican Rookie League, I move those to high A. The kids from here, I move to A ball, to regular A. Because there is no differentiation between A ball and high as far as like when you demote or promote people. If you're in A ball, it says send to high, or if you're in high, it says send to A ball. It doesn't say promote or demote for either one of those. And so those are kind of the same level. So that's my hitting for this year. My pitchers for this year is in alphabetical order once again. Ryan Fernandez, 69 innings, just below league average, and then just above league average for FIP minus, 16.9 strikeout to walk ratio. You want that higher as a relief pitcher, or at least I do. 10 strikeouts per 9 innings, but 3.4 walks per 9 innings. That's a lot. And 2 home runs per 9 innings. That's not great. Giovanni Gallegos had a really good year. I do not even have ERA on his page. Anyways, he was 230 ERA plus, 67 FIP minus. And for pitchers, it is over 120 ERA plus and under, or over 119 ERA plus and under 81 FIP minus. So 20% better than league average for both of those. He's at 20.5 strikeout to walk ratio. Kyle Gibson had a great year, 14-7, 133 ERA plus, 88 FIP minus. See this guy, he had a great year. but he wouldn't show up as green because his fit minus wasn't quite low enough. Um, and he walks too many people, in my opinion. Um, but everybody on my team walks too many people for now, I guess. Sonny Gray, well, ended up 10-8. He started off really slow, came on there at the end. 137 ERA plus, 75 FIP minus. Ryan Helsley, closer, 42 saves. Andrew Kittredge, almost made it to that next level of being green. 83 FIP minus, 134 ERA plus. Had a great year. Doesn't strike out enough people though. I would just really like for my relief pitchers to strike out more. Matthew Liberatore had a bad year. I mean, he went 6-1. Sounds great, right? ERA plus was 89. FIP minus was 128. Not great. Walked 5.2. His control is just terrible, and that's why he can't be a starter. Lance Lynn, pretty much league average. Went 13-7 being league average though. So Steven Matz, was below league average. 33 years old. So has one more year left on his contract. If I could offload him. Kenyon Middleton came up middle of the year. But I believe these are stats for both AAA and Major League. But he was good when he was up at the maybe I traded for him. Let's just look. Kenyon Middleton. What did we do? I think we traded for him. It doesn't tell you how you got him. I thought it did. I can look right here. No, signed him as a free agent. Um, was he up the whole year? Maybe he was. Anyways, he had a pretty good year. Andre Palante, made the All-Star team, right? 125 ERA plus, but at 108 FIP minus, does not strike out enough people whatsoever. Nick Pivetta, I did trade for him, right? Went 5-12 on the year. A lot of that, I believe, was before he came to us. Um, oh, hey, give me just a second. My headset's about to die. Okay, I'm back. Got my headset plugged up. Um, where? When did he come to us? So probably right here. That's his first game with us. So with us, he was 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3-5. So not great, honestly. Um, he had a 1-1 R WAR in 68 innings. He was league average, and he was above league average in FIP minus. But Nick Robertson, and this is obviously with both minors and majors because he was not this good for us in the major leagues. And then Jojo Romero, he started off really bad and then kind of turned it on there at the end. Had a much better second half. Um, and just a couple of our minor leaguers, Packy Naughton. Um, he had a really good ERA plus and good FIP minus. Look at this. It's not good strikeouts. Our team is just not they don't have missed stuff, I guess, right? Um, Wilkie Rodriguez, he's 34. He's one of those that is a free agent. Um, he had a really good ERA plus, league average FIP minus. He's 34. Now we'll look at him see if he can do something in the majors, but we're not just going to bring him back to bring him back. And as far as those that were bad, Jacob Boys Basakovic and Drew Rom were both bad. Zach Thompson was pretty good. Wilkie Ryan Lotus was pretty good at just missing out on the FIP minus at 25. That's encouraging. This isn't though. In Double A we had nobody once again. We had a lot of people that were really close, like Benito Garcia was like literally one FIP minus was if it's probably .01 less, he would probably have highlighted green. Victor Santos was really close also. He had, I thought he had a bunch of saves. No, he was a starter. My bad. 13-6 in 24 starts. Um, in high A, Brandon Comar. He's somebody that'd be moving up. Um, in A ball, 3 pitchers: Cade Winquist, Zach Showalter, Hansel Rincon, Hankel Rincon. Um, we'll look at all 3 of those. Maybe not Zach Showalter because he's only 20. But, and then rookie ball, there's nobody other than in DSL, Benjamin Arias. Actually, he's 1-6, which is terrible, but ERA plus and FIP minus was pretty good. So we'll look at all that. Now let's look at starting pitchers. There we go. All right, so this is my ranking system. And so it's the same exact stats that we were just looking at, except, no, it's not either. That's not true. No, well, look at the wrong ones there. It's not true. It's not the same stats. It's a lot of the same stats. But what it is, games, win, losses, saves, innings pitched. I do pull ERA on this one. BABIP, strikeout to walk ratio, ERA plus, FIP minus, R WAR, Sierra, salary, time left, plus minus, which is how far above ERA plus and below FIP minus are they? And then what I call a pitcher score, which is I take plus minus and then add that to R WAR times 5. So their R WAR times if they were a pitcher every day. And then divide that by R2 Sierra. So the lower your Sierra, the less you're going to divide it there, which is skill interactive ERA. And I add that number to innings pitched divided by game. So how many, basically, how many innings did you pitch per game? So that's kind of how I figure out, in my mind, who were the best pitchers. And then contract value is just their actual contract divided by their pitching score, and then I add 15 to it because I try to get them where there's no negative numbers because that throws off this last contract value. Um, and then over here I rank them, top to bottom, who has the best pitching score, and then who is best money wise. And so, what pitcher is best money wise? And that'd be Grayson Rodriguez. Like, who has the highest pitching score based on how much money they make? Um, so Grayson Rodriguez would be the answer to that question. He's still on the league minimum deal, but you're only paying $15,000 per point. And he was you look right here, 139.81, pretty good score, right? And so that is that. So Zach Wheeler was the top. Nathan Eovaldi, number 2. Max Fried. Nathan Eovaldi's been on the trade block all year. Max Fried, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who was the Rookie of the Year. Blake Snell, who was Cy Young winner. Who won the other Cy Young? I don't remember. Let me just look instead of Cy Young for the American League was Shane Bieber. Shane Bieber was, I have him ranked as having the 9th best year. So 15-11. Yeah. So there's that. We'll look at St. Louis. Let's just look at that real quick. So here's how my pitchers fared in those rankings. Kyle Gibson was my highest ranked player, 19th, 14-7. Sonny Gray was 21st, so almost had 2 top 20 pitchers. Lance Lynn, Nick Pivetta, Steven Matz. And that's how that all went. My relievers, Giovanni Gallegos, the 7th ranked. Ryan Helsley, 26th. And a bunch of people in the middle. JoJo was my lowest ranked reliever at 179. I want you to go over here and look at relievers real quick. David Bednar of Pittsburgh, 41 saves, 1.35 ERA. So, really good. 153.7 pitcher score. So these numbers are a lot higher, obviously, than starting pitchers because their ERAs and FIP minuses can be just so much better if they have a better year. Which is why I don't directly rank them against each other. Johan Duran, or Joan Duran of Minnesota, was 2nd with a 140. He's well below, 13 points below what Bednar was. There's Camilo Duvall, who was a reliever of the year for one of the leagues, for the National League. Okay, let's look at St. Louis hitters real quick. Highest rated hitter was Paul Goldschmidt. And then Wilson Contreras, Nolan Gorman, Mason Wynn, all the way down to Brennan Donovan last. Like Victor Scott was better than Tommy Edman. And I'm thinking bringing back Tommy Edman. Man, I'm not bringing him back. He is back. He's still got another year left. But I'm sitting here bad mouthing Victor Scott, and Tommy Edman's had a worse year. But, and so here's how I look at this. Let's look the catchers. Here's the catchers ranked. And then you had to have at least, I think, 150 at bats is what I did for offense players. Logan O'Hoppe, of the Angels. Was number 1 rated with an offensive score of 7.8. And with hitters, I rank this into 2 different things: batting score, which is um, KLN OPS WRC plus, runs above average, multiplied. You add all those together, multiplied by M2, which is your WOBA. So the higher the WOBA, the higher this is. And then multiply that by H2 divided by J2, which is at bats, not H2, H2 divided by G2, at bats per game, and then divide it all by 10, just because those numbers would be like 640. And so I just wanted something smaller. No real reason there to do or not to do that. And I know exactly what I could do right now and I'm going to do that for next year. But someone changed that to the same way I do the pitchers, plus minus basically. Do that. It made sense to me to do that for pitchers because one was like FIP minus was you had to be below 100 to be better. And so it made sense to do plus minus. I just thought about that now for offensive players. So I'm going to do that. And then a defensive score, which is U2, W2. So your range times W2, which is your efficiency, plus your zone rating. And then you get an overall score. And so you would think what your center fielders and your first baseman are going to, and catchers. And that's exactly what shows up, is that in your overall score, your center fielders, catchers, first baseman are dominating. And that is, just now appearing to me. Batter score. If you just look at batter score, though, I think it's a little bit better. But your 2 MVPs are 1 and 2 in overall score. And so, maybe it's not that big of a difference as I'm making it out in my head. Nope, wrong button. There we go. So then I break these out into, each position. And so, where is my catcher at STL? Oh, 5th, right here. He's 5th in overall score. Logan Alhavi had a better offensive year. 6.9 defensively for my catcher. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Just won't let me do that, for whatever reason. But so there's the catchers. First baseman, Bryce Harper had the best year. Matt Olson, Freddie Freeman, Pete Alonso all had really good years. All 4 are in the National League. Had great years. Cody, had a good year. 7th. Second baseman, and here's where, so let's talk about this. So I look at this and I say, who's my best offensive second baseman? Who's the best second baseman? Look at this. Who had a great year? And who doesn't cost a lot of money? Because I'm looking at, I want to improve my second baseman, right? And so, like Nolan Gorman had a great year, but he's not, like defensively, I'm not going after Nolan Gorman. So, Xander Bogaerts, $25 million. No, thank you. Jackson Holiday, that number looks great, but you're about to have to pay him. And they're not trading Jackson Holiday. Ozzy Albies, he only makes 7 years. He's 27. He's got 4 years on his contract. So I would think about seeing what the Braves wanted for Ozzy Albies. And so what I did is I go through and I highlight him. Matt McLean, he is only 25. I would go through and I would look at him. Tyler Black, he is a rookie. And I'll go through and I'll find a couple of different. I thought Nico Horner, didn't he win Gold Glove for the outfield? So, I know he didn't have a great year hitting, but defensively he's fantastic. I'll just that's a couple people for me to go look at and see, what they're wanting. Yeah, at third base, Leonardo, number 5, among third basemen, making 35 million. That number's gonna come down a little bit this year, but yeah, I would actually look at trying to get rid of him if I could, but you just can't. It's too big of a price tag. People aren't willing to pay that. But Royce Lewis had the best year. At third base, shortstops, Gunnar Henderson, not a surprise. Why is this not? It is. Gunnar Henderson is not a great defensive shortstop. I'm trying to say, why is it not in order? But it is in order. It's just Gunner's not a good defender. Like Mookie Betts. He's probably the third highest rated hitter among shortstops, but he is horrible defensively. Like, I would not want Mookie Betts at short for me. I would definitely have to change that. But Mason Wynn was number 9 ranked shortstop, just below average hitting. Almost had as high of a defensive score as he did a batting score. Probably want a little bit more batting from my shortstop than that, but he was only a rookie this year. Maybe it's only up from here. Left field, Juan Soto. Ridiculous year for Juan Soto. Not defensively, but he's 13 points better than the next player, Brandon Nimmo. That's who won the Gold Glove. Was Brandon Nimmo. Center field, Luis Robert Jr., Julio Rodriguez, Brian Buxton, Michael Harris II, Mike Trout. Mike Trout, 33-year-old, still out there playing well. Making 35 million. So is anybody down here? No, nobody hit. That was real high price tag that didn't play well. And where's my player? Peter Scott, ranked 20th. Right field, Kyle Tucker was the best right fielder. Ronald Acuna Jr., Aaron Judge, Max Kepler. Jordan Walker was number 16. With the number 2 price tag, though. There you go, Jordan. Way to be cheap. I'm going to have to pay for him one day, though. DH, there's only one DH in the league. Shohei, as far as it's registered as a DH. I just did air quotes as if you could see me. And so that's the stats I look at. And then real quick, let's look at, I do an almanac every year. I got this from, who did I get this from? OOTP. OOTP videos, maybe. Although he has not posted anything in over a year. But I just look at each team, division, attendance, and then I highlight the lowest and highest in each category. Payroll, budget, scouting budget, development budget, ticket prices, budget space. Who used their money, who didn't? And my team's bolded, obviously. Market size, loyalty, interest level, average attendance per game, and everything right now is ranked by winning percentage. What mode is the team in? Total number of playoffs they've had, division championships. The Cardinals have had 33 playoffs and they've won their division championship 30 times. Dodgers have, maybe that's not right. They've had 33 playoff appearances and in addition to 30 division championships. Okay. So 63 playoff appearances. I wish they would. That don't sound, I don't know. And who won this year? Who was it? The Baltimore Orioles. That's their third World Series championship. Maybe I pulled these numbers before them. So that may not be their third. That may be their fourth. All right, then go plate appearances, doubles, home runs. Look, two teams at the top in wins. They both won 105 games, I believe. Yep. If you look across here, you see a lot of blue in their columns. So, and you can look at all these numbers. War, team war, um, stolen bases. We were actually number 3 in the league in stolen bases, 183. And the White Sox only stole 41. Stolen base percentage, we were middle of the pack, about 80%. And 80% is probably about average, a little bit less than 80%. Home runs given up. Giants only gave up 130, but they, as you look over here, playing a very friendly pitcher park. So do the Phillies. No, the Phillies playing the opposite. Phillies playing a very hitter-friendly park, and they gave up one of the least amount of home runs. So their pitching was really good. What team struck out the most batters? Braves, Giants, and Dodgers had really good stats for striking people out. We were right near the bottom. Not quite the bottom, but right there. Walk percentage. We were middle of the pack. R WAR. Upper third. Errors. The Braves, the Mariners, Twins, best defensive teams. Cardinals tied for the worst defensive team. Zone rating, Minnesota Twins, but they were up there with the least amount of errors, and they cover the most ground. And it's not close. And then the Marlins are the worst, and that's not close. Stolen base attempts, that's the most stolen base attempts against you, with 169 against us. That's not good, And then routine plays. How many routine plays did you get to? We were in the lower half of routine plays. Likely plays, we were in the top 5 of likely plays. Even plays, like it's 50-50 chance. You get the unlikely plays. Top 2 were also likely in routine plays. Yeah, I guess it's good that we weren't in the bottom 10%, top 10%, or bottom 10% of those. Double plays, who turns most double plays? The White Sox do. The Braves turn the least amount of double plays, but it also could be because they just didn't have as many base runners. Wild pitches, I don't know how accurate this is. That's a lot of wild pitches, it seems like to me. Maybe it's not, but it seems like it. And then pass balls, we were almost, so we didn't have a lot of pass balls. Great. Um, Park home run factor, and then home runs versus lefties. So we don't want lefty power hitter, and we have one, Nolan Gorman, to be honest. But home runs versus lefties is not great in our park. Whereas home runs versus righties is much better. Much better. So those are the stats for the year.